So UFC Fight Night Blanchfield versus Fiorot takes place in the main event this weekend, and I'm going to be going through the entire main card, starting with the opener, ending with the main event, giving you guys my full breakdown and predictions. If you guys are wondering who I got for the early prelims, boom, this is who I got, and wow. Looking through the card on Typology, and it is a stacked and loaded card. Honorable mentions, I think Nate Landwehr versus Jamall Emmers is going to be a fun scrap. Going to be leaning towards Nate Landwehr to get the win via TKO. But let's waste no further time and break down this fight night card. Starting off with the opener of the main card, Chidi Njokuani versus Rhys McKee. You know, I see a lot of people picking Njokuani in this fight, but I'm actually leaning towards the underdog value of Rhys McKee to get the win here. Yes, McKee is 0-3 in the UFC, but since then he's 3-1 his last 4. Njokuani, on the other hand, is currently on a 3-fight losing skid, got brutally KO'd in his last fight out, and is 35. He's getting up there in age, and one of the main reasons why I'm actually picking against him is the recent move down to welterweight. He's been fighting at middleweight for most of his career, and I normally tend to fade the guys who move up and down a weight class late in their careers. I think Rhys McKee has the skill set and striking to put away Njokuani in the later rounds. So, Rhys McKee is the pick and gets it done via TKO in the later rounds. We move on to the next fight on the main card. Algeo versus Kyle Nelson. Going to be going with another underdog here. Picked quite a few in this card, but I'm getting a bit sidetracked. I'm going to be going with Kyle Nelson to get the win. In his recent UFC career, we've been seeing a very technical and cautious approach to his game, and while it's not the funnest nor the prettiest style to look at, it gets the job done, and I think he beats Algeo with that style. I think Kyle Nelson is going to mitigate almost everything Algeo throws at him on the feet, all the goofy, all the weird spinning stuff on the feet, and dictate the pace and make it his type of fight, leading it to a pretty dreadful and boring decision. So, Kyle Nelson is the pick and gets it done via decision, 29-28, possibly even a 30-27. Moving on to the next fight on the main card, Nursulton Ruziboev versus Sedriques Dumas. So, who let 21 Savage in the UFC? All right, I'm going to just cut it to the chase. High confidence pick here. One of my locks on the card. I'm going to be going with Nursulton Ruziboev to get it done via finish. Ever since Dumas' UFC debut, he's kind of been a bit underwhelming as a prospect and contender. 2-1 in the UFC and has just been a bit passable every time he fights. Ruziboev, on the other hand, is currently on a 9-fight win streak. Very good on the feet, very capable on the ground, has a really good jiu-jitsu, very tall as well. 6'5" at middleweight, that's very damn tall for the weight class, and has a lot of experience with an overall record of 33-8-2. I mean, there's not much to say here. I'm kind of expecting Ruziboev to absolutely run through and destroy Dumas. So, Nursulton Ruziboev is the pick and gets it done via second round submission. We move on to the feature fight of the main card. Bruno Silva versus Chris Weidman. Another no-brainer pick here for me. Another lock on the card. I am going to be going with Bruno Silva to get the win via late rounds TKO. Yes, Bruno Silva is a 50-50 fighter and can be a bit of a falling knife at times, but let's just face it, Chris Weidman is on the decline. Very old, currently 39 right now, and is 1-4 his last 5. Not much to say here. I think Bruno Silva is going to beat the hell out of him in the duration of 3 rounds and find the finish in the 3rd. So, Bruno Silva is a confident pick and gets it done via 3rd round TKO. Moving on to the co-main event, Vicente Luque versus Joaquin Buckley. Very exciting co-main event. Very, very nervous for this fight. but I am going to be going with Vicente Luque to get the win here. And no, it's not solely based on the fact that I met the guy, but it's because I actually like this fight stylistically for Luque. Look, I'm going to be brutally honest here. I haven't really been all too impressed with Buckley's recent run at welterweight. Last fight out, coming off a unanimous decision win over Alex Morono, where he didn't look all too good till the third round. And before that, a finish win over Andre Fiallo. Good job. Welcome to the club. Luque is currently 2-2 his last 4 and is riding some momentum after his loss to Jeff Neal. And I honestly think a lot of people are making Luque's brain injury a big deal. That happened over a year and a half ago, and I think he's just going to do just fine in this fight. I think Luque's skill set, experience at welterweight, and overall style will be a problem for Joaquin Buckley. So, the silent assassin, Vicente Luque, is the pick and gets it done via second round club and sub. We move on to the main event. Erin Blanchfield versus Manon Fiorot. Very exciting fight we got in the flyweight division. Number 1 contender fight and a tough one to call at that. I remember when this fight first got announced, I was actually very confident in Blanchfield's style and skill set to be too much for Manon, giving her the win. But after watching their last 2 performances and leading up to this fight week, I've actually been a bit nervous, a bit cautious per se. I actually personally think this fight is going to be a lot closer than what some think. Now, Blanchfield is a heavy pressure wrestler with decent hands and throws a very grueling pace every time she fights. She's facing off against a tricky and crafty striker with notable takedown defense in Manon Fiorot. Now, the keys for victory for Blanchfield is obviously the takedowns and the wrestling. If she can't find them on Fiorot early on, it's going to be a very long night for Blanchfield. But in the course of 25 minutes against a striker with little to no threat of a finish, I think Erin Blanchfield is going to secure takedowns and find the win via close decision. Ultimately, it is a very, very stylistic clash between 2 styles and a tough one to call at that. But ultimately, I'm going to be going with my initial pick. I'm going to be going with Erin Blanchfield to get the win via close decision, 48-47. All in all, did pretty well on last week's card. Despite getting some fights predicted wrong on the prelims, I killed it on the main card. Predicted the fights I was most confident in correctly, especially the main event. Rose was a lock for me, and she delivered a clean and technical performance. We are just 2 weeks away from UFC 300. Very excited for that. Thank you guys for watching today's video. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on my socials, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace!